Welcome to the next 3-minute halacha. In the context of the discussion of the Malacha of Kosev, a major question comes up about business on Shabbos. And practically for us, especially the question of giving gifts on Shabbos. The Rambam in Hilchos Shabbos 23:12 record that it is prohibited to perform any form of loans or rentals or sales on Shabbos because of Gezerah Shema Yichto, because these forms of business transactions are prohibited based on the assumption that they are typically accompanied by some form of writing for record keeping. And therefore, since one may come to write when engaged in these transactions, they are prohibited whether one writes or not, and whether it is done by means of a kinyan, of a formal acquisition, or even just a verbal agreement. And this is codified in the Mishnah Berurah as well. And the Mishnah Berurah extends that even to the giving of gifts, that not only are sales or loans prohibited, but even giving a gift, anything which is yotzei mirishuso, which is going from one person's rishus, one person's possession, into another person's possession, that is prohibited, because it is similar to mekach or memkar, to business transactions, and that it all comes under the rubric of business, which is prohibited because one may come to write. However, with gifts in particular, there is an exception, which is if it is l'tzorech Shabbos. The Mishnah Berurah says that if it is l'tzorech Shabbos or Yom Tov or l'tzorech mitzvah, the need it is for a particular Shabbos or Yom Tov need, or the need of a mitzvah, then that would be permissible. And that is how we get around and how we are able to give, for example, a bottle of wine to someone who we are going to for Shabbos, since it is something which will be used, or at least can very well be used on Shabbos. That would make it permissible based off of this ruling of the Mishnah Berurah. However, for example, when a shul presents a bar mitzvah boy with a chumash, or any other similar circumstance where a gift is being given out on Shabbos, it is important to note that that cannot be done automatically. There needs to be one of two processes that happen. Number one, that there was a transfer of ownership from before Shabbos through a shaliach. We assume that even if we don't give it to the recipient themselves on Shabbos, that a messenger is able, a third party is able to receive it for them before Shabbos on their behalf, even without them knowing, because typically people would appreciate in receiving a gift, and therefore to do so through a messenger before Shabbos would circumvent this issue altogether. Additionally, what one can do is the recipient themselves can have in mind specifically not to acquire legal ownership of it on Shabbos, that it really belongs to the giver, and after Shabbos, the recipient can formally take ownership. So again, any form of business, including giving a gift, is prohibited on Shabbos. Even talking about business transactions in a matter-of-fact way, in a negotiating way, is prohibited under the prohibitions of Imso Cheftzcha and Daber Davar, that one shouldn't talk about prohibited matters on Shabbos either. However, if it is food or something which is going to be used on Shabbos for a Shabbos need itself, it is permissible. And even if not, if one transfers ownership through a third party before Shabbos, or the recipient themselves has specific intent not to formally, to legally obtain ownership on Shabbos and waits until after Shabbos to do so, then that would be a way to make it permissible as well. Have a great day.